Welcome to Reddit After Hours. This is r/relationship advice, where OP is left in shock after her sister confesses her undying love for her fiance. Our first Reddit post comes from Popcorn Shrimp 111, titled, "I think a nap just ruined my marriage." So I'll probably delete this in the morning, but I just needed to scream into the void for a second. I've been married for under a year, but with my husband for 6 years. We have a 3-month-old little girl who's fantastic. I'm a first-time mom who's a stay-at-home mom, and my husband is a work-from-home husband. My husband is not dumb, just emotionally inept sometimes. I've had a lot of resentment building since I was pregnant. His mom tormented me through my pregnancy by talking about miscarriages, stillbirths, and saying dead baby to me every time my husband wasn't around. She denied it, of course, and he sympathized with me, but nothing was ever truly done. Since I gave birth, my husband has been just clueless. When I was there recovering in the hospital, he would go home and sleep and leave me all alone because the couch was uncomfortable. I had to call him 20 times to get him to wake up and come back to the hospital because I was lonely. Then, when we left, he was asking me to carry things to the car with him. The nurse had to tell him that I shouldn't be carrying things because I had just given birth. When we got home, he complained about his lack of sleep. I was struggling to learn how to nurse. I will say, he was my cheerleader through nursing, so I have to give him credit for that. As the first 2 months went by, I was consistently bawling about how sleep deprived I was because he was getting 8 to 10 hours of interrupted sleep every single night. It caused a lot of fights between us because I just couldn't hear him tell me how, quote, exhausted he was without having a complete meltdown. Then his mom would come over and they'd leave a huge mess for me to clean on more than one occasion. He complained about the basement being messy, so I helped him lift things up and clean it up with him. It caused me to start bleeding heavily, and my doctor told me that I shouldn't be lifting anything heavy. This is a point of contention because my husband continuously asked me to help him lift heavy things, and I just couldn't, so he would get annoyed with me. Then he would complain about it all day. Now we're at month 3, and I think my marriage is over. We've been distant ever since the baby arrived, and I haven't wanted to have any passionate hugging with him or even be affectionate. My husband has been asking me a lot if I'm alright, and I just say that I'm fine. I don't know what else to say, but I feel miserable and I tense up every time he walks in the same room as me. Today, he was on my case about walking our dogs. I'm just so exhausted from exclusively breastfeeding, and I don't have the energy to walk her. I had been up since 2:30 a.m. with the baby and just couldn't handle anything else on my plate. So he whined and moaned about doing it, but promised me that I could nap later. I snapped and reminded him that I haven't slept a full 8 hours in months. He got pissy with me and stormed off. He avoided me the entire day and locked himself in his office. I spent the rest of the day randomly breaking down in full-blown sobs because I was so tired. 11 p.m. hits and he hasn't even come out of his office once, so I finally break down and I go get him. He gives me the cold shoulder and I just break down again. All the lack of support just broke me. I told him that I hated him, I wish I could go home, and I even mentioned divorce to him. He calmed me down and apologized for being selfish, and when I asked him what he did all day, he said that he napped. He napped the whole day. While I was struggling to keep myself standing, he was napping. I just broke down. I cried and cried. He was apologetic and showering me in sorries and I love you, but for the first time, I couldn't tell him that I loved him back. Now it's 2 a.m. and I can't even sleep because I'm so distraught. He's snoring next to me and I just hate him right now. I want to take my baby and just run away. I don't even want to live here anymore. Being a single mom seems easier than dealing with all of this emotional stress and neglect. So what am I supposed to do? I just can't believe that I'm ready to leave him all because he took a nap. And then we have this short update from OP. So we talked, and well, I talked and he listened. I told him that I couldn't do this anymore and something needed to change immediately, or I was going to go back home and take my baby with me. He stared at me confused, but then realized that I had 2 bags packed by my dresser ready to leave. I was finally able to articulate all of the resentment that had been building. His mom's cruel and careless behavior, feeling abandoned at the hospital and now at home, how it feels like everything falls onto me so that he can bring home a paycheck. I realized that after saying all of this, I hadn't really told him at all how I was feeling, but I just kept bottling it up until now. He was defensive at first, and I gave him one warning that if this conversation was filled with excuses, I'm walking out. So he stopped, and he truly listened to me. He was genuinely remorseful, and he only said sorry once at the very end, and I know that he meant it. Then he started asking me what I needed him to do. We made a plan, and I finally feel like I can breathe a little easier. He has dog walks handled indefinitely. My mother-in-law is banned from the house and to have no contact with me or my baby. Once my husband is off work, I'm off duty for the day. I'll still breastfeed because I want to do that. I get a lot of fulfillment out of it, and if you saw the way my baby pats my chest when she nurses, you would too. Her big hazel eyes are like a drug to me. OP, I'm glad that you were able to have that conversation and you guys are taking steps in the right direction to move forward. Because I know if I had left my wife in the hospital because the couch was too uncomfortable and left her to do everything by herself, she would have absolutely divorced me right in that moment. Like, that is, to me, is just cruel. I remember when we had our baby, like, I never made her leave the bed. And like, she was in so much pain and stuff, and like I had to change him and feed him like every 2 hours. Like, I can't even imagine how like single mothers are able to do that, or people with unsupportive partners. So like, my wife would have divorced me immediately had I done that. But I'm glad you were able to finally tell him how you were feeling, and I'm glad he was receptive to it. And I really hope things go better for both of you going forward. And hey, congrats on the baby. Our next Reddit post comes from Throwaway Pale Visual 737, titled, I overheard my sister confess her love for my fiance. How do I confront her? So my friends recently hosted a little party / get together for my sister since she had been gone for a while in Florida with her boyfriend, but was coming back up north after they broke up. It had a few of our mutual friends along with some of her old high school buddies and some cousins. My fiance and I had gotten there a little bit late, but we were excited to join the celebration, and I was mostly just happy to see my sister again since she had been pretty distant and rarely texted or called since leaving. Nothing really happened though, other than some shots being poured and food being ordered, until it was getting late and people started to get really drunk. Since wedding planning has been exhausting, my fiance and I were going to leave early. To sum up a really quick moment, I had been walking to the bathroom and past the bedroom where I heard my sister crying into someone's arms. Originally, I was gonna go see if I could help her or comfort her, but then I heard my fiance's name and I paused. Now, I definitely think that I was a jerk for listening in, but I was curious and a little bit drunk myself. But from what I gathered, she was sobbing about how seeing my fiance made it, quote, all real again, and that she didn't want to deny her feelings anymore, especially now that he's getting married to me. What really stuck out to me was when she said that she just wanted him to, quote, notice her too. I left pretty quickly after that, and I haven't told anyone about what I heard. Maybe I never saw the signs, but she was always so polite and friendly with my fiance. She knew him before anyone else since we were high school sweethearts, and I came out to her first when I was struggling with my identity. It's just such a strange thing to hear this from her though, but part of me wants to just blame it on drunk brain, maybe? She's never said anything like this before, and even greeted him when we go to a party, and they connected on a mutual friend interest for a bit, and she was so warm to me too. I want to confront her to see if she really meant it, but I'm also just so terrified of the results of it all. My family has stayed drama-free, and I would hate to ruin everything now that my sister just got back from being away. I really need some advice on how to proceed and how to ask her about it without causing a scene. The party was a week ago, and I just feel sick whenever she messages me or calls to ask about wedding stuff or just general chatting. So I know that I need to do something. Has anyone been in a situation like this before? Then, a few days later, we have this update from OP. Anyways, I ended up talking to my fiance the day after I made the post, once he got home from work and we were settled in. I sort of just word vomited all of this on him, but I tried to remember the advice that I had gotten. He was equally disturbed, probably a bit more, since he has dealt with a similar situation at work once. We both definitely wanted to talk to her and just clear the air, and ended up making a little plan to meet her at a park. Originally, it was only going to be me, but my fiance wanted to stay nearby in the car. So yesterday, I texted her and we met. And honestly, I'm still recovering from everything that she said to me, so I'm not going to repeat all of it here. The basic gist of it is that once we chatted for a bit, I brought up gently that I had overheard her at the reunion party and wanted to communicate with her about the things that she said. One thing that I didn't feel the need to mention in the original post was that I am also a transgender man. It didn't matter to the issue, or at least I thought that it didn't at the time. However, once I asked my sister, she started on this whole tirade with a lot of right-wing talking points, mostly that she didn't get why my fiance would settle for a quote confused girl rather than someone like her, and admitted that yes, she has feelings for him since she thinks that he deserves better than me. I didn't say much to her, but once I realized what was going on, I just said that I was done and I just left. I really don't know how she's changed so much since the girl that I grew up with. She used to be super supportive, which she even acknowledged and said that she was just as lost as I am. After that, I was just a mess, so I apologize for not updating sooner. My sister is now living with my parents while she works to find a job in this new area, so she's also started telling them about the conversation that we had as well. Both of my parents don't want to get involved though, which I understand, and I tried texting her telling her to stop bothering them with this, but of course, she blocked me. So I guess that's that. My fiance wants to cut her from the wedding as a whole, and I'm just leaning on him as a pillar of support right now. I wish this was a happier update, and I still really don't know what to do with all of this. Still, thank you all for the advice that you gave me, and if you guys have any other advice on how to deal with this new issue, I'd love to hear it. Is there any way that I can get through to my sister? OP, I think it's a little weird that your fiance didn't come to you with this information sooner and you kind of had to go to him, but I don't know. Maybe that's besides the point. Maybe I'm overthinking that. But either way, it sounds like your sister has a lot of resentment towards you. And I mean, if she's just going to bring up a bunch of points about how, how she thinks your identity is wrong and all that, and doesn't want to support you in that anymore, then I don't know, Opie. I think you're right or your fiance is right for wanting to cut her out of the wedding entirely. Because why would you want her there anyway? I mean, for her to be able to stand up and when the priest says, does anyone have any reasons that these people shouldn't get married? And then she stands up and makes a whole scene. Like, you don't want that. But I don't know, Opie. It sounds like she's going through her lot herself. She had to move back. She broke up with her boyfriend. Like, she hopefully, maybe she's just stressed and taking it out on you, hopefully, and maybe once she calms down from that, she gets back to that supportive nature that she used to have. But yeah, I don't know, OP, but in the short term, I would definitely uninvite her from your wedding. Our next Reddit post comes from Throwaway Hysterectomy, titled, "My reluctance to get a total hysterectomy makes my husband question my child-free state." I want to start off by saying that I am firmly child-free. I have never wanted children, and I also have endometriosis. I was diagnosed at 16 with a laparoscopic surgery, but it wasn't able to be removed because it was too close to the arteries. So I have been treating it with birth control since then. There's been no issue because I didn't even want kids anyway, so I was okay with never stopping it. My husband is also strongly child-free and has overall been very supportive on this journey. But I've been on so many different forms of birth control by now. Multiple types of pills, the patch, the depot shot, Nexpalion, and the latest IUD with the pills, and they tend to not help my symptoms. And the few that did stopped helping after some time. Each method that followed did the same thing. I'd be mostly pain and symptom free, but after a year or two, the symptoms would just come back. My latest method was a hormonal IUD, which helped for about 2 years, but lately I've been cramping every day and it's starting to impact my life. I moved recently and had to find a new gyno. I know how gynos are with endometriosis, so I sent them all the medical records I had relating to it. I had a yearly exam and made sure to bring up how it's been affecting me lately and all of the previous methods that I had already tried to treat it and how it couldn't be removed through surgery. The new gyno brought up a total hysterectomy with the ovaries. This would remove my cervix, uterus, and ovaries, and I did not expect to be offered that. I told my husband when I got home that I'm not sure if I want to do that, and he got very upset with me. He thinks that because I don't instantly want to do the surgery, that I secretly want kids and I'm going to trap him with a baby, which is not the case. I have been firm on my birth control, and if there's even a slip where I missed a pill or got a shot late, I would insist on a condom. I don't want kids. Being pregnant is actually one of my worst nightmares. I'm not sure about a total hysterectomy though, because I'm not sure I'm mentally able to handle that big of a surgery. It's a keyhole surgery, so it won't be too much of an incision, but the recovery can be rough. I don't think I have it in me to deal with that right now. I am also so reluctant to have my ovaries removed because I don't want to rely on HRT to get my necessary hormones for the rest of my life. And I need the ovaries removed because I have endometriosis beyond the uterus. It's growing on my bowels and I have scarring from it. That can't be removed, and also a hormone cycle that might cause flare-ups in those parts, and that I all understand. But he thinks that I didn't immediately say yes, so I must want kids. I've tried explaining to him why I'm reluctant, but he just won't listen. I've tried telling him that it's not just like a vasectomy. The recovery is longer and harder, and the effects are greater. And other people that I've talked to about this tend to agree with him, but just less intensely. They think that I'm going to baby trap him and that it's a sign that I'm not solid on my child-free stance. How can I effectively explain that me being unsure of the hysterectomy is not because I secretly want children? OP, I don't think that you're wrong for not wanting to get it. I mean, and rely on, HRT for hormones. My mom actually got a hysterectomy many, many years ago for, I think, like migraine issues or like early menopause issues or something. But anyway, and she'll tell you that it's not just about not being able to have kids anymore. It's like it throws your hormones so out of whack. Your body has to readjust to everything. And she actually had a really hard time trying to regulate herself again and feel normal again after that. So I think it's very reasonable that, we have some reservations about this. And at the end of the day, it's your body and it's a major surgery. And, the fact that your husband doesn't respect that or want to hear you out or see that in any way is kind of alarming to me. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments if you think I'm overreacting. But, to me, if I was a woman, that would be a huge red flag. And maybe not make me question the kids thing, but maybe question him as a partner thing. I don't know, P. Maybe you guys need to sit down, do some research together, maybe try to open his eyes a bit. But if he's not willing to be receptive to that, I don't know, P. Sounds like you have some hard decisions coming in your future, and I wish you the best.